Welcome to Strength in the Numbers. My name is Andrew Cott, accountant, author, and commercial finance entrepreneur, and it's my job each week to bring you leaders in finance and business and deconstruct with them their real stories, insights, and hard-won lessons into practical advice on the key strengths and qualities you need to remain relevant in accounting and finance today, as well as the steps you can begin to take to elevate the impact you make to have a fun, successful, and rewarding career in accounting and finance. Now let's go over to the show. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Strength in the Numbers. Our guest mentor today is Rishabh Sawansukha, who started his finance and accounting career as a chartered accountant over 20 years ago, largely gaining his experience in taxation, technology, change management and ERP, with very large multinationals like Schlumberger, Coca-Cola, Oracle, and he's now gone on to be a founder and chairman of BizStreet.biz. Now, what I really liked about this podcast is that it's littered with really useful advice throughout our entire conversation. So it was actually really hard trying to pull out the key points because there are so many. So the ones that we do touch on is the discovery Rishabh attributes to turning him from an accountant into an entrepreneur, why technology is really helping us to do what we should be doing in the first place, and why this will create a load of opportunities for accountants and finance professionals. Rishabh also deconstructs for us 3 simple steps in terms of breaking down data to make better sense of it, and also a really cool concept, his ecosystem or shared economy concept that has been around for a long time, but Rishabh has got a real novel way of implementing it to serve and add value to businesses better. So I really encourage you to listen into this, and there's a number of resources mentioned, and I put all those in the show notes along with some really fantastic quotes and the bits of advice. So you can find all those at sitnshow.com/podcast/064. So without further ado, over to Rishabh and the show. Good stuff. So Rishabh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andrew.
So Rishabh, look, we've had some really interesting exchanges on LinkedIn, but some of our audience may not be as familiar with your background and your journey in accounting finance. So would you maybe mind taking a few minutes to share with us your journey in accounting and finance in your career?
Yeah, sure, Andrew. I actually started from a small town wherein I started with my chartered accountancy in 2018 years ago. And then from beginning the career in accountancy, I was the first one in the family who chose to do accounting as a profession. Everyone else was, from the science background. So I was actually kind of a rebel in a way. But then I decided to enter into corporate world. I started my career in 2001 from oil and gas, India's largest oil company, Indian Oil Corporation. There I was thrown into SAP rollout, start from the day one. It was the biggest rollout by SAP itself in India, and there they started this IS oil concept as specific to oil and gas industry. I was part of the core team, and then doing a lot of change management, a lot of process documentation. Then I decided to move on to another company called Schlumberger. Schlumberger was basically into oil and gas, oil field services across India, 22 locations. And accounting and finance always been my forte, but to be precise, taxation and the business advisory I was into. And I thought that, how accountants burn their midnight oil. I always used to wonder from my initial days that, we did chartered accountancy. Can't we use some technology to make our life easier? We have our families back home. So, but,
Yes.
But everybody was saying, no, we accountants are destined to spend time in offices, because I said that we are we are not office keepers. So, but anyway,
Yes.
So, but the first realization and the first moment of happiness came in my life when we did the implementation of SAP in a company like Indian Oil, with having 500 locations across India. And I was the first one who completed the closure of the financial of annual financial in 14 days, and I got an award. Wow. And then I realized the power of ERP if we use it. The problem was that people were not using the ERP the way ERPs were designed. So then I moved to a ERP company, Oracle. I was globally looking after their indirect tax, and then I did an Oracle implementation worldwide with Oracle Fusion. I interacted with the top leadership of Oracle. We did 25 acquisitions during my tenure of 4 years. So every month we used to integrate some or other company into our Oracle parent fold. And we used to wonder, can we have 1 month breather But Larry Ellison never did give breather to anyone because the company was growing organically and inorganically both. I was involved in Sun Microsystems integration, and I got exposed to the global world of accounting, merger, acquisition, and how integration takes place and what are the challenges in terms of uniform accounting practices, IFRS, etc., etc. But then all of a sudden, I think the big thing came in 2008 when the depression and the recession came, and everybody was talking about total cost control. That the revenues are going down, and people were shelving their plans for capital expenditure and all. That time, basically, then I moved to FMCG space. I became national head of tax for Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola being an FMCG company with 25 factories across India and a large distribution network of 3.5 million people selling Coke or any other product of the Coke. It was a big ocean for accounting and finance and tax because the transaction, the volume which we were handling was humongous. And the kind of sense which we were supposed to make from the data was also very challenging. So there I implemented SAP again in 2013. But the biggest discovery it took place in my life, which made me an entrepreneur in accounting and finance, was Snapdeal. Snapdeal was like a Alibaba format for India. It was an e-commerce company. And we were the highest seller of Apple iPhone, 550,000 iPhone we sold, iPhone 6. And when Tim Cook came to India, actually he met with our founder, who was a young guy of 32 years. So then I realized that, accounting is not the capturing of the data. Accounting is much beyond making sense out of data. And then in October 2015, we formed GST Street because the India was going through a biggest change of taxation on the earth, like goods and services tax for 1.2 billion people. So then the GST Street started, and I opted the mode of shared economy, shared ecosystem, because the best cannot be hired, but it can always be shared. So this is what my little journey of learning, and I'm still learning, and I'm learning every day.
I loved how you're all about learning, Rishabh, because again, when we were speaking previously, that really comes through, and you made some very interesting points actually when you were going through in your career journey. I'm going to pick you up on the first one. I know it's way back, but burning this midnight oil, that's something that really I couldn't quite understand when I ventured into industry as a young accountant. Why did we have to work late at period ends? Why did we have to stay in the office after everyone else? I mean, we're clever people. We've gone and got an accounting qualification. Surely we can figure this out. And, like I always challenge people that I've worked with or worked with me that, I think in one case I took away people's overtime and said, you'll figure out how to do what you need to do in a 40-hour week. And guess what? They did. They're smart people. They're accountants. So how did you take on that challenge of getting around burning the midnight oil? How did you solve that one?
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you, when I started my career, that time I was exposed to a computer data room wherein all around me there were computers, and we were sitting in the middle of it. And I was told that all the 40 location data will come and you have to process it, and it's a 10 days exercise. 3 people working day and night for 10 days and generating some 26 report out of 40 locations. So basically, in nutshell, 1,000 odd report we used to generate in 10 days. And then our senior used to review those reports and make some sense out of it and make some filing out of it. So basically, after 2 months of working in this environment, I figured out that I need to automate the repetitive processes. And I'm talking about 2001. That time, my boss said, we don't have any budget for any technology because we are implementing SAP. So at maximum, he could approve me was a trainee, a technology trainee, and then I was supposed to work after office hour. I was strictly told that you cannot work on any project within the office hour. I said, okay, fine. I'm fine with that. At that time, I was young. I was not married also. So I decided to. I decided to work on those process automation. And after 1 month, we created a very simple, Visual Basic based on that tool which was running on the macro. And in half an hour time, we were able to process 1 location. So 40 location we were able to process in 1 day. So even we could schedule the processes, and by the time we come next day, our reports are all ready. So it was like, dream come true. Because for all the 2-3 people, we actually went out and had a big party. And after that, we told we told our boss that we are going to have this party quite often, because now, but we will come to office for 10 days, but we will have fun because our reports will be ready for one day. So that was the power of cutting down the processes which require human intervention, which can be done through machine or through the course or the languages. But that is very old time when SAP and ERPs were not very popular. But now I think the time has really changed. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and so many stuff around there. We can actually make smart use of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I have to see a lot of my own journey in what you've just described there, particularly the fun angle, okay? Because look, it's one thing to have a career, but if it's not fun, it's going to be difficult to get out of bed in the morning and give our best every day. So I really like how you brought the fun angle into it. Completely agree. But it does take effort. Sometimes we need to put in a bit more effort to get the results out, but the results will accrue afterwards. So it is worth sometimes working a bit longer, a bit harder to go solve something that will make our lives easier, more fun in the long run. So completely agree. And I also agree on your point about artificial intelligence and these other technologies. I think that's what we've spoken about previously. But in your mind, I suppose, then what's really exciting you about the profession or what you're doing at the moment?
So what excites me today as a professional, what I am doing and what I see others doing is that people are right now waiting and watching about the technology. But technology is disrupting every field to which we are exposed to on our daily life. The way we are commuting, the way we book hotels, the way we book our cars, and all those stuff, the hospital, healthcare, every industry is getting disrupted, fintech and all. Now, my take on is that, as an accountant, we need to develop the new processes of preventing frauds, preventing the process lacunas, because that is where our textbooks are also failing. Because whatever accounting textbook have been written,
well said,
have now become redundant. So they have never imagined that from a retail boss machine to balance sheet, the journey will be seamless for a transaction. So we have to come out of the silo thinking and then create the processes wherein the future accountant will go with the smart tool. He will plug and play and then capture the data and then do the decision making based on the data, not based on the assurance. So that assurance based audit will be thing of past. That's what I feel, and I am excited about it. That in the future, the data-based decision making will take place.
And is this, and particularly what you said earlier, that your realization that accounting wasn't about capturing of the data, it was more about making sense of it. So in effect, the technology, I think, is where you're going with it, Rishabh, is it's going to allow us to do what we really should be doing in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if we see IBM Watson, or if we see the new technologies which are being given to us in the form of mobile technology, I'll give you an example that before last year, whatever business planning and forecasting we used to do based on the last mile connectivity. We always say that India is a vast country. It is very difficult to reach out to the rural part and tier 3 town, tier 4 town, etc. But now, whenever we do a business forecasting, India today has got 900 million mobile active data users. So the whole country is connected. So it is very easy to reach out to anybody at any given point of time. So this is a big change we have seen, and this has actually created a lot of business opportunities for accountant. I give you a small example. We have started a global shared compliance service center, and we were targeting clients outside India. But today the situation is that we are getting more clients from India, because more and more companies are comfortable with giving their non-core activities to us. And then we are doing it in a very, very methodical, process-oriented manner by using technology. And we are giving them the results in the form of dashboards, in the form of key matrices, which they never got earlier. The business owner or the CFO or the CEO, they are not interested how we have captured the data, how we have burned our midnight oil. They are interested in what is there inside the data. Have you identified those problems? Have you identified those opportunities? Have you identified the threats in time? Because today, if any company has got a governance failure, the ultimate failure goes how they are capturing the data, whether they are doing their correct accounting or not, whether the revenues are recognized in a timely manner, whether the costs are not inflated, not gold plating is done. There are so many things. Unless until we use the technology, we cannot figure out.
Look, I completely agree, and it's great to see and hear about the value propositions of accountants being realised, particularly in a shared service environment. So in terms of that making sense of the data, Rishabh, you know, like part of the reason why we have this podcast is so we can practically break it down or deconstruct it for our audience, some simple steps that they can follow to make sense of the data so they can add more value in their own careers to their businesses. Could you perhaps maybe break that making sense of the data down for us into a few simple steps that we could all perhaps follow?
Sure. I will say that in 2007, when we set up the Global Shared Service Center for Oracle, it was set up in Bangalore in India, wherein we had around 400 people team handling every country accounting as well as value-added corporate services. And Oracle being present in every part of the country, every part of the world except North Korea, we found that the Indian accountants were smart enough to get into the shoes of their country accounting very easily. In 6 months, there were Hong Kong accountants, Singapore controller, and Middle East controllers and all those stuff, South Korea controller and all. But everybody was sitting in India. So there, the three things which I will tell, and I want to tell through your podcast to everybody who is listening, that the first thing is that you have to create a mindset at the top that the accounting and the controllership, a lot of things which are non-core can be outsourced, and the choice always remains with you where you want to get them outsourced. But before that, you should qualify your processes, because whatever I cannot do, I cannot outsource. Very simple.
Exactly.
So firstly, I should know my business, and if I don't know my business, there are people who can slice dice your business and tell you what are the core processes, what are the non-core processes. So first, get that thing fixed first. The second thing is you have to create process champions within your organization who are going to control the processes, because you can outsource the process, but you cannot outsource the controls. So control should always remain with you, because it's your business. It's none of the business of the shared service provider, wherever he is sitting, whichever part of the world he is sitting. He is not bothered whether you lose your business or you make profit in your business. He is interested in his money, his services. So you should have proper checks and control. The third part is the change management, because the technology is changing fast, your business scenario is changing fast, and tomorrow you may have a complex accounting situation wherein you are buying from China and selling in Singapore. The things may not be coming to your home country, and then you have to be cognizant of the taxation, because the global taxation, the digital economy taxation, is a new concept even OECD is struggling with today. So we need to know what are the development things which we need to be cognizant of. So there you have to develop either in-house capability to decode all the taxation of various countries if you are a global company. But if you are a small startup, if you are a small city-based business, then my suggestion is that you should focus on implementing some tools or applications which are easy to use and not very expensive, so that you can know about your business, that how you are achieving your business goal, and whether your accounts are reflecting to your business goals and efforts or not.
Completely agree. Look, I really appreciate you laying out those 3 steps and calling out for the smaller businesses as well. The fundamental, though, it's really about understanding our business, the processes, and getting those right, because I mean, ultimately, that's where accounting started. It was really about preserving value, recording data, getting it together, getting it well governed, getting good quality, complete, accurate data. And then from there, we can start making good decisions on it, reporting on it, analysing it, making sense of it all. So, look, really good practical advice, Rishabh. Thanks for sharing that. And there was one other thing when you were talking about your journey. You mentioned this idea about the shared ecosystem, which in my mind, if I get it right, it's more like a partnering mindset. Like
yes,
there's
it's a
some
collaboration.
great skills out there. Yeah, it's like there's collaboration. Like there's some great skills out there, and like it's very difficult to get ownership over skills. And the new model for employment, I guess, is people not necessarily plumbing for one employer of choice, but having having the opportunity to pick and choose their employers or work on things together or collaborate with others on things. So I'm a big into collaboration yourself, but do you mind sort of sharing your concept of shared ecosystem with our audience, please, Rishabh?
Yeah, for your audience, I would love to share the shared ecosystem. The shared economy is not a very new concept. It was there even 1,000 years ago, because I visit lot of museums, and I found that even that time when communication was not there, internet was not there, shared economy was still there. And we all started with barter, and barter was before currency came. So barter was nothing but shared economy. So now in our model of shared ecosystem, the GST street we started with, then we moved to tax street, and then we moved to wage street, because the business as a whole need experts, seasoned expert who can deliver the projects. Now it is not freelancing, it is not aggregation, it is not marketplace. I want to tell you it is very, very different, because consulting is not a commodity. Because whatever shared economy we have seen by far so far is like Uber is a commodity, car driving is a commodity, hotel is a commodity.
Yes.
You can always price them, but I cannot price the time of Andrew. I cannot price the time of Rishabh.
Yeah.
Because it will vary, depend upon the subject, the situation, and the client. If some client pay me $2,000, I will charge $2,000. If some client pay me $10,000, I will charge $10,000, depending on the work. So if we create a marketplace like situation where everybody's price tag, that will not work. So we decided that we will work only with the premium expertise, which is by far not easily available. And in our ecosystem, we onboarded 400 seasoned experts worldwide. And on our website, you will not find them intentionally, because we do not want them to be labeled. We do not want to be tagged that they are looking for some work in the market, because they are not. Because we believe that those people who have the capacity to deliver what they promise. And the best advice I got from a very renowned Big Four partner when I started working on this idea, he said that, Rishabh, promise what you deliver and deliver what you promise.
Yes.
So then I thought this way, because the biggest flaw in the freelancing is that people can promise moon, but they can't deliver the earth. So there I found that this approach, wherein we work with them, we build their capacity, and we take use of powerful networking, so that these people will also come up. At the same time, in our partner ecosystem, we have Big Four accounting firm, we have Big 10 accounting firm, we are working with the top lawyers. So we can deliver complex projects very easily, because we believe in power of shared economy globally.
I love how you gave us a bit of a history lesson as well there, Rishabh, because I think we forget this, because we get so focused on digital economy or the current currency, dollar-denominated economy, all the numbers. We forget that as human beings, we started out by sharing and bartering. And that's how we got by,
I think
particularly in tough times.
Yeah, to me, Bitcoin is nothing but a barter. Because if you see the distributed ledger system, whenever it will come, it will actually disrupt the banking which we do, which is dominated by one or two or three currency. But when these coins will come, this will actually disrupt.
But again, I think accountants have been around for thousands of years as well.
Yes.
And I think we will continue to be around. I don't know what form exactly, but we will be, because these things need to be recorded, understood, and then made sense of. So again, it's about understanding our business, understanding what's going on, and I really love the concept of the shared ecosystem. So Rishabh, thanks for sharing that with us. I want to shift it up a few gears as well. I know you touched on a bit of advice there you received previously, but what's been the best bit of advice you've ever received in your career or your personal life?
I think in my personal life, I received the advice from one of my boss in Schlumberger. And on this studio, I would like to name him also. His name is Clarence Ellis. He lives in Dubai. And I worked with him in 2008. He was my boss. And today, after 10 years, we have become partners. So the advice he gave to me, and he's a very accomplished guy. He traveled across 40 countries, and he knows the taxation and accounting of these countries as well. So he told me that, Rishabh, we work for three things: knowledge, money, and fun. if anything is
I love it.
if anything is missing in your life, then you are in a wrong profession. Change your profession.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that.
if you don't get the knowledge every day, or you don't get paid for your work, or if you don't enjoy your work, then there is no point continuing that work. And that was the best advice I got, and I thank to him that he showed me the right path.
Yeah, look, that's why when in the introduction to this podcast, it is about fun. It's about practical experience. Yes, I use the word rewarding. You can roll money in there, but there's experiences as well. That's really good advice, Rishabh. I really like that. And I suppose in terms of any resources that you could recommend our listeners, would there be any book or documentary or anything in mind you could suggest to us?
Yeah, I would recommend them to buy one book which I always read and I always find very very good. The name is Work Wise. It is written by Mr. Rahul Kapoor. It is available on Amazon. So that is the book which I always keep besides me, because it has got short chapters and it talks about every life situation. And the biggest book which I never forget to refer every week is the book for which I can say that 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. These are the two books. Yeah. These are the two books which I really love and feel that they're good book. Apart from this, for the young listeners, I will tell that look, don't take technology as your enemy. Just try to embrace it, welcome it, and always see how best you can use the technology, because technology is a tool. It cannot replace human. It can never replace human, because human has got a value system and human has got an emotion. Human can think. Technology can replicate the thinking process to a certain extent, but not towards all the extent. And here I would like to quote the Uber founder Travis Kalanick. He once said, when he came to India, he said there are applications out there who are better than Uber, but then they have 3,500 ideas also which they can do to beat Uber. But the one idea which is 3,501, the one is in my mind, which cannot be replicated.
Wow, that's very well said, and some great. I love that quote actually, and I appreciate you sharing those. I suppose, Rishabh, in terms of our audience, if they wish to maybe find out a bit more about you, where's the best place to connect with you at?
They can write to me directly, Rishabh@bridgestreet.biz, BIZSTREET.biz, and I would be happy to respond. And they can log on to my site, bridgestreet.biz. They can log on to my YouTube channel, Tax Street Global. They can find me out on my Twitter handle also. Everything is available on site. Today, connectivity is not the issue. If there are any help which I can make to your listeners, I would be happy to do that. And I think I would say that the one message with which I will part in the show, that whatever we do your best and believe in yourself. Yeah. I think that's the only success mantra.
Rishabh, again, thank you so much. I mean, you've been a fantastic guest mentor on our show. Some great insights, really, really interesting career, and some really interesting thoughts and knowledge that you developed from there, and sounds like a fantastic business, BizStreet. So looking forward to hearing great things about that in the future as well. So Rishabh, thanks again for investing your time on our show today.
Thank you, and thank you, Andrew. It's my pleasure to be on your show, and it was a really great show. We had a great time, and thank you for allowing me to be in your show. And I look forward to be again and again with some new topic, and I would also love to onboard you as well.
So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to know more about our guests today, their bio, and follow up on the resources mentioned during the show, you can find all the relevant links and more at sitnshow.com. There you'll also be able to get access to earlier shows, read the latest blogs. There's also an opportunity to subscribe to our newsletter, which will give you heads up as to when the next show is coming out, latest events, news, and anything that's going to be relevant to help you have a fun, rewarding and successful career in finance and accounting. And just before you go, we really appreciate your feedback. If there's something we can do better on the show, something that's not working, or something you'd like to see, even a guest you'd like for us to invite onto the show, someone who you think might be able to benefit you more and also the rest of our community, please let me know. You can email me. I'm at andrew@sitnshow.com, or feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Just drop me a message so I know how you found me, and we can connect And really, it's our community that'll make the show. If we keep engaging and driving each other on, we'll keep on building our strength in the numbers. And when all is said and done, if we can do the numbers better and finance better, we'll create more opportunities for ourselves, our friends, our families, our communities and our businesses. So until next time, have a good rest of the week, take care, and let's keep building our strength in the numbers.